Hello, Form Ones. I hope you're all doing extremely well and that you're excited to come back to school next week. I am very excited to see you and to teach you face to face instead of just talking to a screen. So this is the memo of exercise 24, the second last memo before I see you guys. It says, Miss C. Fitzgerald owns cards by Claire. These are her check payments for September, and they didn't specify the month, but I just assumed it's September 2020. And then it says record the transactions in the cash payments journal. Remember, that's the journal that we're busy with for September 2020. Okay, so the first thing you do before you even look at the transactions is you go and give your cash payments journal a heading. It's the cash payments journal of Cards by Claire for September 2020. And since September is the 9th month of the year, it's CPJ number 9. Then you will notice that this company chose to have specific columns for material costs. Now what this is it's the cost of all of the materials that goes directly into the product that the company makes. So in this case, the costs of all of the materials used to actually make the cards. And the company chose to have a column for packaging material, which is obviously all of the materials that goes around the product that can be like removed from the product. For example, envelopes or plastic bags or boxes or whatever. Everything else that we pay for that is not material costs or packaging materials will go to sundry accounts. Remember that. Okay, so if we look at the transactions, the first one was on the 2nd of September. It said issued check. Okay, the word check tells you it's a CPJ transaction. Number 709 for cardboard and paper. Okay, now they specified that it's material costs, but you need to know that cardboard and paper will be used to make the cards, so it's the materials. Okay, 350 Rand to CC paper. If we record this in the CPJ, the document will be check number 709. It was on the 2nd. The details, the CC paper, that's the company that we're buying this from. Every single value in the CPJ must go to bank. And in this case, cardboard and whatever is material costs. Okay, so remember every value must go to bank and somewhere else, to 2 places. Please don't write it everywhere. Sometimes the boys get so trigger happy, they just write 350 in all the columns. That's also not correct. Okay, so only in these 2 columns. The next one on the 4th said paid CNA for ribbon, 300 Rand. It's also material, so obviously the ribbons are used to make the cards pretty. By check. You will notice that they didn't give us the check number, but the rule with the CPJ is all of the checks just follow on each other. So the previous one was 709, this one will be 710. Okay, so it's check number 710 on the 4th. The company we're buying from is CNA, 300 Rand, and ribbon is also material costs. The next transaction took place on the 5th. It said issued a check to B Box for envelopes and plastic sleeves. Now this will be the packaging. Okay, it's part of your product, but you can remove it and still have a full product. That's why it's not material costs. Okay, it's around the card, so it's seen as packaging materials. 700 Rand. So if we record it, it will be check number 711. On the 5th, B Box is the company we're buying from. The value goes to bank and to packaging material. Nowhere else. Don't write it in material costs as well. The next transaction took place on the 7th. It said issued a check to R. Ryan for rent. And then they say to you that it's rent expense. Okay, so remember, whenever we are paying rent by issuing a check, it's an expense for the business. Don't get confused between rent income and rent expense. Always think of every single transaction from the business perspective. Okay, 1,500 Rand. So it's check number 712 on the 7th. We are paying R. Ryan 1,500 Rand. And now this is for rent expense. So it won't go to material costs and it won't go to packaging. Okay, because it's not materials or packaging. Where will it go? To sundry accounts. So you have to write the amount in the amounts column. And you have to specify that it was for rent expense. It's very important that you write the word expense there. Don't just write rent. The next transaction was on the 8th. It said issued a check to Ekurhuleni municipality for 500 Rand for water and electricity. So we're just paying the company's water and electricity bill. The check will be 713. It's on the 8th. The details, you have to write it out in full, is Ekurhuleni municipality. We're paying 500 Rand for water and electricity. So it also goes to sundry accounts because it's not material costs or packaging material. The next transaction on the 9th said cashed a check. Now I hope you can remember from last week, the moment when we say cashed a check, it's almost like it's like the old-fashioned way of saying that you withdraw money. Okay, so the details will always be cash. And if you don't know that, then I want you to make a note of that somewhere in your book. Okay, for 900 Rand for wages. Now wages is just what we pay our workers every single week. Okay, so 714 on the 9th, cash, 900 Rand for wages. I highlighted this in yellow because it's very important. Don't write wages in this details column, write cash. Then the next transaction was on the 10th. We also cashed a check for personal use. Okay, so in other words, the owner withdrew money from the business for himself. Okay, so they said C. Fitzgerald. Now with this one, the check number will be 715 on the 10th, and the details will be accepted as either the owner's name or as cash. Okay, so for drawings, we usually use the owner's name, C. Fitzgerald, but because they said cash to check, if you wrote cash, then that's also perfect. 200 Rand was withdrawn. Okay, it's not for material and it's not for packaging, so it goes to sundry accounts. And then the account that we always use when the owner takes money for personal use is an account called drawings. If you didn't know that, then also make a note for yourself. Then on the 29th, we issued a check to CC Papers for cardboard, 300 Rand. Okay, now cardboard in the first transaction was treated as materials. Okay, so you know cardboard in this transaction will also be treated as materials. So it's check number 716 on the 29th to CC Papers, 300 Rand for material costs. And that's it. Don't write it in any of the other columns. Okay, then the next one. On the 30th, we issued a check to RS Suppliers for envelopes, 200 Rand. Now envelopes will be packaging materials. Okay, so it will be check number 717 on the 30th to RS Suppliers, 200 Rand, and it was for envelopes, so it doesn't go to the material costs column, it goes to the packaging materials column. And then the last transaction for this exercise was also on the 30th. It said issued a check to B Box for boxes and bubble wrap. Now boxes and bubble wrap of 700 Rand will also be packaging material. So it will go, it's check number 718. You don't write the 30th again because it's still on the same date. We're paying B Box 700 Rand for packaging materials. And then before you're done, just remember to quickly total your columns. Okay, so if you total the bank column, you will get 5,650 Rand. If you total your material costs column, you will get 950 Rand. If you total packaging, you will get 1,600 Rand. And if you total sundry accounts, you will get 3,100 Rand. And just remember this little tip. A way that you can always test yourself is that all of the columns after the bank column, so in other words, if you add material and packaging and sundry accounts together, will give you the total of the bank column.